On a night when you did not get the thing done, there is a moment where you feel, quietly, that you are not enough. Someone the same age looks further along. You look stalled. You meant to do something, the day ended, and once again you did nothing. In those moments, you find yourself blaming yourself. You cannot help it. The internet is full of self-help articles telling you to stop blaming yourself. The trouble is that the moment you try to override the act of blaming with the rule "do not blame," you start blaming yourself for blaming yourself, and the pain doubles. I am not going to offer a method for not blaming yourself. In an era where social media has grown this large, blaming yourself is structurally inevitable. The more natural outcome is exactly that you blame yourself. So the first thing to set down is this: you do not need to blame yourself for blaming yourself. On that ground, I want to share a small handhold that might make things a little easier. Open your phone, and somebody is in the middle of accomplishing something. A peer's promotion, a friend in another industry founding a company, a book by someone you saw online, the too early success of a young person going viral on a short video app. These are fragmentary highlights. The 99% of any day that is ordinary is not in the frame. The human brain has a habit of treating whatever it sees as the average. So a strange picture forms in the mind. The people around you start to look like people who are all accomplishing things. In reality, just as many people are doing nothing, or are stuck, but they do not appear in the timeline. The result is that your internal line for where I should be gets set higher than the real distribution warrants. The next sentence is the small mechanism the rest of this rests on. The gap between ideal and reality is being artificially widened by the skewed sample social media shows you. That gap produces the feeling of falling behind. I should be doing more. I am behind. That sensation comes out of this structure almost automatically. It is a feature of the era, not a personal weakness. Across hundreds of conversations, I have met almost no one without some version of this feeling. A few people appeared on the surface to feel none of it. Listening longer, I usually found they were only keeping themselves from noticing it. There is a structure here that gets missed. People who are not aware of their unease are not strong. They are simply scared to face their own weakness, and they have pushed the awareness away. Seen that way, a person who can say "I am restless" or "I am uneasy" is, in terms of facing oneself, one step ahead. Feeling the restlessness is itself evidence that you are watching your own mind. What was different across people was only how strongly they felt it, and how they handled it afterward. The restlessness itself cannot be removed. I want to grant that openly. What hurts differently is what you build on top of it. If you take the restlessness as a starting point and extend inward into I am no good, I have no value, I am finished, that is where another kind of pain forms. The restlessness comes, passes, comes again. On its own it fades with time. The spiral of self-rejection, by contrast, sets up a structure where you keep wounding yourself. A branch point sits here. When the restlessness arrives, some people receive it as a reaction to information, and other people receive it as a mirror reflecting their essential nature. The first kind is already thinking about something else a moment later. The second kind drags the sensation along for days, sometimes weeks. This difference is not about ability or personality. It depends on the habit of how you interpret the restlessness. Let me write this plainly. I am not free from this restlessness either. Lately, for example, I have a line in my head for where I want to be with AI. I want to handle at least this much line. My actual skill sits well below that line. Open the phone, and posts from people who use AI perfectly are right there. Honestly, I feel the rush. Even so, I do not go deep into the spiral of self-rejection. I have a place inside me I can always return to. The first principle I live by is to live well. That is the starting point for every judgment. Consider the version of me who uses AI perfectly, and the version who does not. If you ask which one is happier, the honest answer is that the difference barely matters. AI use is a means. Living well is the end. If you measure the end by how far you have come on the means, you will be short forever. Looked at from the side of the end, I am already there. When the restlessness comes, I return to one question. If this is not achieved, will I be unhappy? In most cases the answer is no. That alone takes most of the rush out of it. When returning to the first principle is not enough on its own, I use two backup checks. Look at the people around you. On social media, only the people busy doing things are visible. In the actual few meters around you, almost no one has seriously started. If you swap the sample from social media to physical space, the feeling of being behind disappears. Step outside it for a moment. If you ask, right now, is anything fatally stuck? In most cases the answer is no. The content of the restlessness is usually an imagined crisis. These are not methods for curing anything. The next sentence is how I think of them honestly. They are light breaks that keep you from sliding deep into the spiral of self-rejection when the wave of restlessness hits. Even so, the difference between having them and not having them shows up across the next several days. The restlessness does not have to vanish. You cannot help blaming yourself. You can carry both of those and still go on living. In what I have seen, the people who live with more ease are not the ones who have learned not to blame themselves. They are the ones who live alongside the part of them that blames. If you are listening to this on a night when you are blaming yourself for something, what you are feeling is what almost everyone feels inside the structure of the social media era. It is not your weakness. You do not need to erase it completely. A little easier is enough. My hope is that more people can find a steadier relationship with their own restlessness. From Naya Nairo, The Seven Colored Fluff.